for those of you that are curious from that deep recent discussion we just had, I talked about the covered call picks of the day. So if you go to the covered call tab, you can click on the monthly picks of the day straight view. This is only updated once per day, and it shows you what trades for when that was run. And then you see the link here to see how we develop these results. That goes through the testing approach, the criteria that were used, and the results over the period that was tested. And same with the weekly picks of the day. Now, a question did come in from a customer earlier today, and they had said, I see that the weekly picks of the day has not updated yet. The email's from around 12 noon. And so this view is only updated at 1 p.m. Eastern time. However, on PowerOptions, if you wanted to see the updated trades, if you're looking at 3 o'clock or 3:30 in the afternoon, just go to the search tool for the given strategy, scroll down below the listed trades, and you see the various defaults and other strategy searches we've created during our various webinars. And we can just go to weekly picks of the day. Of course, we're at the close of the market, but again, this last update was at 4:32. So if I was checking at 3:32, it'd be within 12 to 15 minutes or so of 3:32 when this list would be updated. So we have W, Lift, Net, STNE. And on the standard view, we've got pretty much the same, NET, Cloudflare, and Wayfair. Might have been different prices and different strikes, were they? 73 and 70, 61 and 58. It was 74 and 70 still there, and 62 and 59. So it did change slightly, but not too much. So that's how you can access the updated searches at any time in those cases. And then again, for the naked put, you can see those as well, the weekly picks of the day, and of course the monthly picks of the day, and then you can see the update time listed there as well. All right. Okay, so I'm sorry. Let me undock the question pod. So Dave there. Where do I find the weekly picks of the day? That's what this is. Okay, so you go, the weekly picks of the day are for covered calls and naked puts, whether you want to go monthly or whether you want to go weekly. Again, Dave, you can click on the standard view here under covered call, or you can go directly to the search tool and select the default search, weekly picks of the day or monthly picks of the day to see the results. And the same thing with the naked puts. You have the weekly picks of the day standard view, the monthly picks of the day, but then you can go into the search as well and take a look. All right, so going on with the tools now. Bob says, how are the trades on the search summary selected? What is the search criteria? The search summary tool is designed to give you ideas in multiple strategies if you're bullish, bearish, or neutral on a stock. As always, it's boring, but let's use Apple as an example. I'm just going to type in Apple here in our symbol field, and we're going to click on Search Summary. Now, I've selected calendar spreads. This was from the last time I visited. Long straddle, long strangle, bull put credit spread, bull call debit spread, and just married put. So on the calendar call, it's looking for options, I believe. I don't have this entirely in my head, Bob. But for calendar calls, it's looking for options. I'm pretty sure they're at least 300 days out in time for the buy option, within 20 to 30 days for the short option, looking for the highest annualized return on the position. The short call is usually going to be at the money or 1 or 2 strikes out of the money. So that's why stock at 165.35, we're seeing the August 165.50s mostly combined against the various strikes 300, 350, 406 days out in time. Each one's a little bit different based on the default criteria we set, Bob. A bull put credit spreads, sometimes these are right. I apologize. Sometimes these are really good. I lowered the probability specifically to be between about 85 to 95%, but I think it's grabbing the highest probability rather than sorting by highest return. So I've made changes to that. I had the programmers, excuse me. The bull put spreads should look exactly like these bull call debit spreads here, with returns around 12, 15, 16, 18%, with variable lower break evens based on the position as well. Long straddles just close to at the money, no more than 2 strikes away from the current stock price, naturally for a long straddle. And again, under 20-day period, Bob. And long strangle is very similar, under 20 days. But if, another approach is to go longer term. And then the married puts is just looking at the shorter term there as well. All right, so each one is a little bit different, Bob. Let me jot this down because that is bothering me that the bull puts are not within the parameters that I had requested months and months and months ago. Covered calls, let's add those in as they're one of our populars, and the naked puts as well. So I think these are going to be same thing, Bob. Most of these are going to be within 20 to 30 days, slightly in the money to slightly out of the money for a good probability of expiring worthless or being assigned. So yeah, covered calls at, in, and slightly out of the money makes perfect sense. And again, 14 days under the 20-day time period. Standard expiration mostly. Sometimes the weeklies come in here, Bob, but it's mostly looking at standard expiration. And that's why we're seeing the 14 days out. I'm sorry, that's not the naked puts. There we go. And slightly more out of the money, looking for a minimum return of 0.01% or higher with a certain range out of the money. So that's why we're not seeing the 162.50 because it's not far enough. OTM is my guess, or probability-wise, it's not high enough of a, I'm sorry, the 62.50 is too low of a probability to match maybe the 75% minimum criteria. So that's all pre-programmed in. It's not based on the search that you used or last viewing in the strategy. We looked at that once, but it got hectic a little bit because someone might not have a search set up in the calendar spreads, and we'd have to use one of our defaults. So we might revisit that later on, Bob. But I hope that asks your question, of course. And if you have a specific question related to a specific strategy in the search summary, then send us an email and let us know. And I'll look into it with Ernie. We'll have the programmers take a look at it and do that as well. Okay. All right. Going back to the basic naked put search. And we weren't in the naked puts. We were in the weekly covered calls, of course. So I'm going to go to weekly naked puts, picks of the day, of course. There we go. And from Kenneth. Kenneth says, in the weekly naked puts, is there a way to filter out stocks that have had unusually large moves today? For example, Carvana. It's interesting that jumped up that high. I wonder what was in, we can check what was in the news in a minute, but I thought it got hurt really bad and there was bad negativity leading up to the earnings. And what was the other one? I'm sorry, Beyond Meats. I don't see, oh, there it is. Perfect. Up 687. And that's about, yeah. 2 ways to do it, Kenneth. The easiest way, of course, is to use the percentage stock change today under the fundamentals. You could use the monetary stock change today, but if you had a $120 stock that moved 8 points, if I put in less than 8, you might miss that one. That's why the percentage is always better. So I want to see anything that had less than a 10% movement today, maybe even less than that, but let's just take 10. Carvana's out, and Beyond Meats is out, and then I can just save that criteria and call it my weekly naked put screen. Of course, you could set that to less than 5%, less than 7%, Kenneth, however you wanted to do that as well. So we're just going to put it at less than 10 to find stocks that haven't had that large movement upwards. Go ahead and click save. This is weekly naked puts. No big moves. And of course now, so anytime I come into the naked put search, Kenneth, as you know, and that's my last saved search I was viewing, that's going to be the default that's going to come up here on that screen. Okay, so those are some of the best ways. That's the best way to do it, in my opinion, is the percentage stock change today. You can also use the monetary stock change today, depending if you have you might have adjusted this, for example. How would the stock change today be useful if we're looking at stocks from $87 to $9? Well, if you've already adjusted your stock price limitation, default here for the naked puts is between $9 and $200. If you've already lowered this to 30, then yeah, you could put in a movement of less than $5. So you wouldn't see anything that moved more than $5, or less than $3 if you wanted to keep the 10% in that case, Kenneth. But if you haven't done it yet, the better way is just use the percentage stock change today. Okay, great. Question comes in. I'm just getting started out. How can I learn about using all of the tools and the proper steps to use them? Well, there are multiple ways to do it, of course. Attending the webinars is a good start, and you can always schedule a free coaching session. When you click on free coaching there, you see the time schedules that are available. It looks a little thin for next week, and that's because I am going to be out of town. So you'll be having conversations with Ernie if you schedule a session for next week. Unfortunately, that also means no webinar next week. And yes, we'll be back, of course, at some other point. But yes, there will be no webinar next week, no Friday webinar next week. So that's the first step, is you can schedule a coaching session to go through a one-on-one walkthrough with Ernie or myself on using the tools. The webinars themselves, the webinar archive, arranged by category: Power Options tools, options strategies, concepts, and requested topics, where we mostly post the entire hour, hour and a half, however long our presentations take. And you can see some different ones here. Tools for evaluate, that's more strategy based, but functions of the portfolio tools and Power Options. Power Options tools for credit spreads. Let's see here. Where are some of the good ones? The Power Options top 5 tools. Using Power Options to search and analyze stocks or sector stocks, both applies. Let's go down to some of the more basic ones from before 2020. 5 minutes on the stock repair tool, very powerful tool, very important tool. The Power Options screener, yes, it's from 2018. We will walk through the entire Power Options search for basic strategies and other strategies as well. Researching and analyzing a new options position, portfolio tools to enhance your trading, and much, much more is here as well. But those 3 are the good place to get started. There's one I thought that was here, and it's not. I'm trying to think if it is one of these. Oh, this one, perfect. I'm sorry for the gentleman that asked the question. How long does it take to learn Power Options? So we walk through a little bit here of how long we expect you to take to learn it, the process we feel you should go through when you're on the site, what you should look at first, what you get familiar with the most first. And I think included in this one is, the basic 5 to 10 minutes of the first 5 steps I use when I use Power Options every day. And, we could review that too. That's pretty simple. But this is a good place to get started. As I mentioned, going through the Power Options tools to help you learn the navigation. When you first start out your trial, there is a tour that pops up as well. And if I'm not mistaken, you can go back to the Learning Center at any time. And under tutorials? No, that's not there. Okay. Let's go back to the Learning Center. I'll try to find out where I thought it was in here directly, but there's a walkthrough interactive tour that you can use when you first start, and it'll keep popping up occasionally if you haven't gone through it all the way yet. So go through the webinars, the tools webinars. Start with those basic 3 from 2018. They're a little bit longer. They're about an hour and 10 minutes each maybe. But yeah, definitely start with the Power Options screener. And the top 5 tools one is a good one to look at. And then that other one I mentioned here, how long does it take to learn Power Options? And then review, of course, of the subscription services as well. No, Dave, don't think so. No, there's no way to do that. The webinars page is its own separate entity. So what Dave asked is that the main homepage here, and this is where I start every day, naturally, when I log on to Power Options, the first thing I do is I just, check out where my stocks are moving. But yeah, they haven't moved yet, of course, because the market's not open. So when the market does open, I'm usually here and I'm just seeing what changes are on my watch list. These are stocks I have as married puts, other holdings. My watch list 1, watch list 2 might be something I have a credit spread or a calendar spread in. And I just want to see if anything stands out as a big movement for or against me in the direction that it went. But there's various pods that you can have. Market activity. Hey, how is everything doing right now? VIX, SPX, DJX is a general market view. ETF gainers and losers, stock gainers, earnings announced today, industry gainers as well. So there's multiple ones that you can have, and you can customize this view any way that you want to. You can click and drag. Usually, I think my personal one is set up this way. Webinars here, even though I know them because I organize them. Market activity. What is over here? I think over here is actually ETF gainers and losers there. Earnings announced today is right below here. I don't think I have the ex-dividend, but if I do, I think it's right below earnings announced today. And stock gainers and stock losers are here for ideas of potential movers, usually in the center of my pods. And I also have new 52-week highs and lows. Yeah, and that's usually where it is. So that's how mine's set up, but everyone's a little bit different. Actually, I don't think I have industry gainers or sector gainers. Was that the other one? Industry losers. I don't think I have those, but yes, market sentiment is always right here, right in for me, okay? You said David just tried to click and drag. It didn't work, okay? So you click and hold it, and then move it out of the box. Make sure you're clicking in the middle, not on the X or the minimized. I think you can still move it if yeah, you can still move it if it's minimized there as well. But if you're still having a problem, David, moving it, send me an email and let me know what browser you're using and what operating your system. It may be just a glitch. That happens from time to time. We had a gentleman yesterday who was using an older version of, what was it, Opera. And for some strange reason on the updated profit and loss chart, I think it was, the submit button wasn't working. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was the view options. So we were in the custom spread view. But yeah, Dave, I'm sorry, trailed off there. That's how you use the pods, and that's how you can get a quick market overview when you first log on to PowerOptions on your positions, general market. But no, there's not a pod for the archived webinars. There's only a pod for the live webinars in those situations. But yeah, the issue with the custom spreads I mentioned is I was on a coaching session, I believe, with a gentleman, and we were looking to build a position that he had, and he would click view options, and then he went here, and for whatever reason, when he clicked to add it a call or put to C to add to the position, it wasn't saying added, but it also wasn't recording down here in the trade entry field. So it was something along those lines that we had to look at, and I think it was just that subtle issue of an older browser that didn't have an update, and we were able to fix it in about 5 or 10 minutes, of course. So that wasn't an issue at all. All right, so that's just sort of a basic walkthrough. And remember too, if you're specific, the gentleman asked the question on the specifics of using the tools and navigating the site for a specific strategy. Great place to start is in the YouTube playlist there. And you have the different ones here for bull call debit spreads, call buying, bear put debit spreads, bull put credit spreads, and so on and so forth. So you can see how to cover calls here as well. So you can see navigation, management. Oh, they're selling cash secured and naked puts, of course, also. So for some of the more popular strategies, some of the ones we saw in our answers from our poll earlier at about 4:40, they're all available there. And each playlist is about 9 to 10 videos, again, that walk you through the introduction, search criteria, so you're seeing how to navigate the tools, management techniques, we'll see you using the portfolio tools and comparing positions and so forth. So that's a great way to get started as well. All right. Okay, so we're only at 5:04 p.m. Eastern Time. We just had a pretty good overview of basic strategy discussion, strategies in different markets and favorite strategies. And of course, we had some other discussions there on using the tools. Don't worry, I'm not shutting down. I'm just recapping and reviewing for myself, writing it down so I have the notes there as well. Just wanted to remind everyone that today's material are my thoughts on your questions, designed for educational purposes, increasing investing performance and options knowledge. Any stocks or options discussed today should not be taken as direct recommendations or direct trading suggestions. Options involve risk, as we've seen, and may not be suitable for all investors. But we did see the best way to mitigate risk today using the married put structure. Hey, we had a great review of a lot of tools today. We did the search summary. We went over the search. We went over basic navigation and also places to go to see where to get started and the webinars and such. So if you like the tools you saw today, especially the portfolio tools, the rollout opportunities, having the math done for you and seeing the side-by-side comparison, powerful stuff, take a free trial at any time. All you need is your name and email address. No credit card required. You have full access to the site for 14 days. You can schedule coaching sessions as well during that. After the trial, subscription start is just $45 per month. And that's for the end of day data service. It only updates once at the end of day. And then, of course, we offer the delayed service as just $65 per month, access to all the tools, portfolios, search capabilities, and much more. The historical service, on your trial, you'd have a 3-month test of the back testing tools. We saw a little bit of that when we used the Apple call to go back to see what it was on July 27th. There's the historical chain, the historical search, and historical search by symbol. The historical level of service is everything you have on the 20-minute delayed, 15 to 20-minute delayed, just $35 more, gives you full access to all of the historical data, which goes back several years. Every subscription level, you can cancel at any time. There's free coaching available on all levels of subscription. You can actually upgrade at any time as well, and all subscribers get full access to all the webinars. Some of the webinars are subscriber only. You'll see that when you're on your trial, but subscribers have access to all of them. We did show our free education today, going through the webinars, the Power Options tools, some suggested webinars at the beginning there, and also going to the YouTube channel, checking out the playlists, or searching for a strategy topic. They've searched for poor man's covered calls or diagonal spreads, debit spreads, and you'll see a listing of everything that matches on our YouTube account for your specific search term. And of course, other questions, send us an email at any time to support@powerop.com or support@radioactivetrading.com. And you can also call us during market hours, at 302-992-7971. Of course, trial members and subscribers, as I just mentioned, can schedule a free coaching session.